Welcome to Dropping In, a podcast of storytelling and interviews with your host, Winter Olympian Mercedes Nicoll.
Thank you so much for dropping in on Series 9. Now, this is a series where I'm chatting with past guests' parents. Now, I'm talking about elite athletes. I get a lot of questions from people asking, what did your parents do to raise a 4-time Olympian? So I thought I'd reach out to my past guests' parents to find out what they did. Let me introduce episode 76 guest that we will be dropping in with today. This is the father of episode 41's guest, where we chatted about the shoulder season blues. Growing up in Montreal, his childhood was basic, learning from friends, but playing hockey was a must. He graduated with a commerce degree and started his family with his first wife, bringing into the world Catherine, who is head of the fraud department for credit cards. She has a daughter and a son and 3 grandchildren. Nicholas, his son, is the barbecue tool master. His daughter, Mia, is one of Canada's top divers. So it kind of runs in the family. Remarrying years later, they brought their 3rd child into this world, Dominique, who is an Olympian and a doctor, and one of my best friends. In a small cabin in Tremblant is what brought this new trio closer. He learned to ski at the age of 33 years old, and his new wife, an avid skier, had Dominique on skis at the age of 3. His life has been good, focusing on giving all his attention to his family, old and new, making sure they loved each other and respected others. All his children have worked for where they are today, learning to satisfy themselves with their situations. And that's no small feat. Dominique now has a clinic in Whistler. She works really hard. His words, to be content is what we need to achieve old and young. This grandfather, hard worker, has been there for a lot of my snowboard career. Let's drop in with Jacques Vallee. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to see your face. It's been a long time, but I know you're coming out to Whistler. It is currently the end of March here, 2023, and I know you're coming out in May to see Dominique's fresh little Matix. She had a baby.
I know. A proud grandfather again.
Yes, so exciting. You'll be jealous. I did get a little lunch date yesterday with Maddox, and I didn't let go. 6 weeks
Okay, you
old.
were holding, lucky you.
I was. I know. I thought you might be a little bit jealous. Okay, so on this, we start with 10 rapid fire questions to let the listeners get to know you a little bit more. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, number 1, rapid fire. Where in the world are you today?
We're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Nice. That sounds a lot sunnier than where I am in Whistler, BC.
No. Well,
Number,
you have the soul, I have the sun. Good.
Number 2, what drew you to go to Tremblant?
Well, basically, I wanted to find a way of getting control of my stress and do some exercise. So that was it.
Awesome.
I was a smoker and decided to change a bit.
I didn't know you were a smoker. That's
And
interesting.
neither did I. I don't want to admit it.
My parents were smokers too, but that was just what it was back in the day, I think.
Everybody smoked unless.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Number 3, when your kids were younger, what was offered to them after school for activities?
I would say that aside from the later years with Dominique, when my initial kids, Catherine and Nicoll, very little sports.
Okay.
Aside again from hockey and girls, nothing. Except maybe volleyball,
So what changed with Dom? Did she just try every sport?
Yeah, we tried everything. I mean, you just got them into swimming. You got them into sport that, the city organized, but it was really simple.
Yeah.
There was nothing, even at Tremblant, although, my kids were there, we could ski, but there was no ski schools or really anything worth the effort for them.
Okay, interesting. Now a little bit about you. What is the last book that you read?
Ah, Lord. Well, I'm reading right now.
Yeah, what are you reading right now?
It's Michael Connolly,
Okay.
Desert Star.
Desert Star.
Yep.
Nice, nice. Number 5. Was was school a big part in your kid's life? Or did like sports take over at some point?
Well, I think that my kids, I can't say they really enjoyed studying, every one of them.
Yeah.
None of them really enjoyed studying enough to say that that's what they should have done.
Yeah.
In later years, like Dominique, who became a doctor after snowboarding, my son Nicoll took out his commerce degree 5, 6 years into, graduating from high school.
Yeah.
And my daughter really never took a serious education, but on her own.
Yeah.
She grew up, she really made her way in the business.
For sure, for sure. I know. I remember Dom taking classes.
Nothing, I had no brainchild naturally.
Okay.
It worked
They worked really hard. These things I know.
very much so.
Okay, number 6. Dom had a lot of events when she was into sports. Did you go to all of them?
Without question.
Oh,
Again, she was lucky. She was the third child.
yeah.
I had more time and more money, so I could follow her. And I did. Every time I could, even in Europe, if I could, I would.
I love that.
So I really enjoyed that.
But even at a young age, did she want you to come there? You guys were like kind of always together.
So every time, because often when she lost, I brought her back, crying or sleeping. So
Yeah.
I think parents are important when, at certain age. At another age, we're not there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really our job.
Yeah.
But when she was up to her, I'd say 16, 17, I think it was appreciated.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Number 7. Now, I know you did play golf yesterday, which I respect, and I wish I was playing golf. How active is your lifestyle now?
Okay, I'd say, listen, I'm going to be 80 years old. So the activity I do is, before I used to go to bed 3 in the morning, now I have a hard time reaching 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So the activities are golf a couple times a week.
Yeah.
We have kayaks here. We kayak a bit, but not often. And I do the gym every morning. And we enjoy having friends over. And, that's really part of the parcel of getting a little older. I'm sure your dad's the same way. And your mom, I mean, activity, we climb up the hill now. It's a pleasure going down the hill in the chair. It's
True.
really quite different.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
quite different aging, and it's hard. But I can tell you that one of the aspects of getting involved with your kids, it saves your health too.
Ah, interesting.
Because the ones that don't follow their kids miss out on a healthy, lifestyle, I think.
That's a good way to look at it. I like that. Okay,
Mm.
number 8. So do you spend the winters in Florida?
Yes, I do.
Is that
Well,
Are you following the sun?
I'm sorry.
Are you following the sunshine?
Am I following what?
The sunshine.
No, well, yes, in a way, because like this year we went to Europe for about 6 weeks. We sailed back here to Florida because we wanted to cross from Barcelona.
Hmm.
But it's really, again, my present partner is an avid Florida person. Her daughter's here, so we have a lot of friends. My friends are here now.
Okay.
So that's really it. We don't go to the sun every day.
Yeah.
Maybe twice a week, once a week sometimes. But we enjoy the heat, not changing clothes and not putting on boots and whatever.
Amazing.
It's part of growing older nicely.
That's true.
I'm very lucky.
I'm jealous. I like it. My parents go to Mexico, and this is
That's right.
the first winter that they've done it. It's usually the shoulder seasons.
That's right. And your parents were avid skiers, and
Yeah,
you know, you put it aside. It's good for your body skiing, but the sun is too.
it's true. All right, last question of the rapid fire, number 10. Did you know about your kids' passions from a younger age?
Whew. I think you encourage it. You see it in their character.
Yeah.
Be it my son. I've always said that if he reached 6, he would live to 100, because and then he had so many chances of getting killed.
Oh
So it's really up to us to channel the energy.
Yeah.
I was lucky. I had 3 kids. They had lots of energy, and again, it's easier to control energy than create it.
Yeah.
So I gave them sports as an outing, and I think it worked out in their character, and I'm proud of what they did.
I love
They
that.
did on their own. It's really hard work to be art.
Exactly. And we're going to get into
Okay.
that. Okay. So we're done the rapid fire. And now I want to get into Dom Vallee's career. I mean, you were with her along the way. And then she just shot up into the national team. We went to an Olympics together, and we do talk about hard work, but I don't think we talk about like hard work enough, because I know that she in Quebec there's grade 13, and I know she was doing grade 13 while we were still on the road and most of us were done with school. Do you want to just like get into like how hard Dom worked and like how you were there for her, I guess?
Okay, I think how hard she worked is how hard she wanted it,
Mhm.
because it's very simple. She was a skier, went to Whistler one Easter and saw a pipe, and her coach had told her, "Why don't you try, a board and carve a bit so you learn how to carve with skis?" When she came home that night from Tremblant, she said, "I'm never skiing again." So that's it. So basically, we went there and we went for a week at Easter, never saw her. She
Okay.
met friends, and that's how she started. And then we started negotiating her wanting to move to Whistler.
Yeah,
So she had to finish
at a
school.
really young age.
Oh, yeah, she was 16.
Yeah.
She had her first apartment one summer there for about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And but she had to go finish school. We said, "You got to finish what we have to, like grade 13, because this way, if you ever want to go on to something, you need grade 13."
Mm-hmm.
So that was it. And she worked wherever she could because she wanted it so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I gave her a budget, and
Okay.
that's it.
And how like I know there's like helicopter parents nowadays. How did that feel with you just kind of making this agreement and letting her like leave the nest?
I'll tell you, if you don't give, it's like anybody in life that you meet, your partner, and if there's no confidence in them, don't get out of the business or get out of the relationship.
Yeah.
Our full confidence, her mother and me, was she can do it, she can handle it. We didn't have to really check up on her. She knew what the rules were.
Okay.
She knew I think, the nice side about her lifestyle, but the bad side too,
Yeah.
if she didn't learn how to cope with being alone and practicing and waking up in the morning,
Yeah.
not getting pissed out of her mind at night, and not becoming a real Whistler
Hooligan.
Yahoo. I call them. They're enjoying themselves, but they forget what reality is all about.
That's true.
They end up at 35 or 40 years old, 20 years later, and they're still 15.
Peter Pans.
And,
I call them Peter Pans.
That's it. And, anyways, my opinion, Whistler is really excellent, but you need to have a strong character.
That's
And
true.
the ones, unfortunately, that are stronger are the women.
I love this.
That's my honest opinion, because everybody owns a business. Most of them are women.
Yes.
Everybody who succeeds well, most of them are women. Okay.
Are you listening, men out there? Are you listening?
Oh, they're too tired. They got drunk last night.
I love it. Okay. So Dom moved out here. She was living like a snowboarder's life while doing school. And then she was also traveling the world, being on the national team.
Okay, but she had left school at that time, though.
Oh, she didn't have school. She was done.
When she really got into the national team the first time, she basically had finished her grade 13 and had the okay to do what she wanted to do, but she also had to work. She waitress, she did all sorts of jobs to survive in a way to complete her budget, and that was it. And then luckily she met people like you that were in the same mindset. That basically it helped her too.
Yeah.
I mean, you and the group at that time were outstanding athletes, but you're also outstanding people.
Right.
So that kept, us in confidence.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Parents that were not, your parents were not overbearing or anything, but they were just nice people.
Yeah.
And we felt secure that she was okay. If ever we weren't there, your parents would be there, or
which is nice to know.
I'm sorry?
Which is nice to know.
Oh, it's a must.
Yeah.
It's a must.
Yeah.
No, her mother was probably the most worried than me.
Yeah, I believe it.
She's the way a mother's a mother. You can't change a mother. You don't want to change a mother.
Yeah.
But she felt confident because of that.
So it's so refreshing to hear, because you and my dad are very similar in the way that I think that you raised both of us to be very independent women, but also you were there in any instant that we needed you. And I'm not talking just about my dad. Like, you would have been there for me too.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we felt you girls were like so similar, and the parents were.
Yeah. Yeah.
We enjoyed the parents, and we enjoyed your company. And, some of the others that I don't want to name now, but you had a nice group of athletes. And the parents were there behind too. You can't have somebody who's sound of mind and happy with what they're doing without giving them a confidence of doing it.
That's true. So what I'm hearing is like confidence, independence, and the passion to actually follow what you want to do, with parents that are okay with a child going to live on their own. Because I also did something similar. I left Whistler, which most people are like still confused about. They're like, why did you leave Whistler when like it's the mecca of snowboarding? And I was like, well, I grew up here, and also I needed a half pipe. And so I lived in California, which to me made sense at the time and actually did really well.
It still helped you.
Yeah.
It didn't do anything wrong. You needed to do it.
100%. And I don't think I'd be the same person if I didn't spend my time in Mammoth Lakes and at Mount Hood and all of these places, because I just wanted to be on snow as much as possible. And I'm pretty sure Dom wanted the same thing, but she had already moved to Whistler.
Yeah, she moved to Whistler, and the boyfriend was in Whistler. And, a few things held her there.
Yeah.
But she loved going down and meeting you down there and driving for like 12, 15 hours.
I know.
I would not have done it. I wouldn't have had the passion to do it,
Yeah,
anyway,
totally. All right. I want to get any tips for parents that think they may be like raising a star. What's like the thing that you would offer them?
I think if you're not involved, you don't know what to offer your kids that want to do something, because you don't have but they don't tell you everything that they should. But Dominique was quite easy, because we're so into it that she would say what her passion was, what her deception, what her goals were. And I think that I would suggest to parents to be extremely close, not only money-wise, because, again, I saw that at Tremblant. All the parents that didn't want to participate in a race, for example, would pay a penalty not to do it. But their kids never performed. They were as good as anybody else.
Okay.
But nobody was really rooting for them. And
no one, right.
And the same way that when you see your child smiling, no matter if it's 4th, 5th, 1st, or 20th, it's done. You made it down. You got to see it. You have to see it.
I love that. How many competitions do you think you went to? Because my mom had only seen a couple.
I don't know, 40, 50, 40 maybe, because I did skiing also.
Right.
So it was a passion for ourselves too.
Yeah.
Like I said, we keep fit. Parents will get involved in athletes
Yeah.
will keep fitter than parents who don't get involved.
I love that. Now,
You know?
would you watch every run? Because my mom had her eyes closed for a lot of my runs, and my only runs that she watched were like Olympics.
You remember why we didn't go to the Olympics with you and Dominique at, in Italy. But simple reasons that her mom could not bear her falling.
Yeah. Yeah.
She said, I don't want to see it. I don't mind seeing it on TV because I don't really have to look. But being there, I'm going to feel like I jump in the hot pipe and hold her.
Like
so
her heart would be like coming out of her mouth.
yeah, it was just that. We wanted to go, but she couldn't take it. She couldn't take that part of of your sport.
That's so interesting. But you would watch. You and my dad would watch, and then the moms would not watch.
Well, you see, the same thing with Andre. She never watched really. She didn't come as often.
Yeah.
Well, she worked also quite a lot. Traveling in the airline. But again, I think it's motherly. And I agree. I mean, I don't think we're any tougher, except that we're just men and we don't have the same feelings and sentiments than women have, luckily, because I'd love to be a woman in my next life.
I love that. I just want the listeners to know that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I said my companion would like me to go back as a woman too. Come back as a man.
Oh my gosh! I have to let the listeners in on a secret that I do get love advice from you, and I appreciate it every time.
It's a pleasure. Listen.
Okay.
It's from the heart. It's really what I think.
It's awesome. It's so
I think my health has been good. Well, I had some issues, but I was able to recover because of all the visits and the skiing and the snowboarding and the competition and the freezing and the cold feet and the cries and the joys that we went. But we went every weekend, really.
Yeah.
So we were active, and you smell the air. It helps the individual, the parents, and you end up being healthier as you grow older.
Totally. I want to talk about the basics. You talk about your kids having the basics. Can we get into like what you consider the basics growing up when they're younger?
I think the basics is to be a family around the table.
Yes.
To be able to talk about issues, and also not to make money as your main point of main goal, main point of interest. Choose the choice of your friends because of that. You choose the people you like to enjoy, and you try to get a certain contentment, and you try to be content with what you have and what you do. Because if you want to be very successful, there's a price to pay for everything.
Yeah.
And as a parent, you got to make sure that they make that choice, that you don't make that choice for them. So you allow them to do certain things. But I started that way back with my son who went to Europe. I gave him a budget. He went over it. So I sold his car.
Yes.
So basically, Dominique had the same thing. She had a budget. There was not to be a penny more. She had to manage her budget.
Yeah.
But she had to do it, eating properly, making sure that, we were informed of what she did.
Mm-hmm.
We just had to make sure that the basics were family, education, respectful, make sure that you don't exceed your limits or exceed your capacity by partying it's all part of a parcel, but nothing to do with money, because money does not bring you an
Happiness.
Olympic. I don't think.
That's true. That is true.
I don't think so.
No, I appreciate that. I thank you so much for dropping in today. I'm just going to go over some of the things that I took away for the listeners is that independence, bringing up an independent, confident human into the world is really important. And I do appreciate all those basics that you just talked about while they grow up. And the importance, which I think a lot of people don't. I know you say money doesn't matter, but having a budget, that does matter.
Yeah,
And that will get you far.
Yeah. No, you have all your life you need a budget.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay?
It's
That's
true.
it.
Budget, family, education, and respect. And
Good
I think
friends.
and good
Good
friends. Yes.
Yeah,
Keeping
good
those
friends
good
do-
people in your life
Yeah.
is so important.
That's right.
Jacques,
So
any last words?
Yeah, take away.
Thank you so much for dropping in today.
Mercedes, I'm waiting to play golf with you in May.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. So much for dropping in today. You can find everything you want to know about Dropping In with Mercedes at droppinginwithmercedes.com. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Thanks DJ Kenosis for the music and my mom for the intro voice.